This YouTube strategy creates a loop that generates views, leads and revenue automatically. It's not just theory, and I can prove it using my own channel's back-end data, because YouTube constantly recommends videos based on what viewers already watched and liked. When several videos perform well with the same audience, the platform naturally starts pushing similar viewers towards those other videos, creating what is essentially a YouTube referral network. So instead of leaving it to chance, we deliberately design content that builds our own ever-growing loop within that referral network. There's a simple 3-part formula to building it, starting with part 1. In order to create this compounding loop effectively, we need to start by laying the right foundation with the content that we create on YouTube. There are 5 simple steps to doing it. The first is the intro hook, and this is crucial because if viewers leave in the first few seconds of a video, the rest of the system never gets a chance to work. Every video needs to start with a clear problem and promised outcome. In other words, you quickly tell the viewer what they're going to learn and why they should care. The easiest way to do that is with a strong statement followed by intrigue. For example, at the start of this video, I said a simple YouTube loop can generate views, leads and revenue automatically, which immediately signals the outcome. Then you add the intrigue. So in this case, I did it by saying it's not just theory, I can prove it using my own channel's back-end data. Now that combination makes people curious enough to keep on watching. You also want to establish credibility quickly, because if viewers don't believe you know what you're talking about, they'll leave immediately. So at the start of this video, I did that by showing real analytics from one of my own channels, proving that this isn't just an idea, it's something that I've already tested and used in practice. And finally, we need to keep that intro tight, ideally under about 15 seconds, because the faster you get into the value, the more viewers will stay. Retention is the fuel that keeps the entire loop working, but getting people in the first place is only half the battle. Step 2 is what I call the early insight rehook. Once someone clicks on your video, you need to signal quickly that they're in the right place and give them something valuable immediately. Long introductions about yourself or your channel just slow things down, because remember, the viewer didn't click for you, they clicked for a solution and for themselves. So instead, deliver a valuable insight right away, something that shows you clearly understand the topic and have something worth listening to. If you're not yet widely known by the general public, this step becomes even more important, because viewers will naturally look for proof that you actually know what you're talking about. For example, when I started this channel, I deliberately published 2 high-value videos that showed real back-end data and revenue from multiple different channels that I own. One of those videos breaks down how I grew a brand new channel to millions of views in just 30 days. The other shows a video with 60,000 views that ended up generating more revenue than a viral one that got millions. And this is important because when viewers see proof and get an early payoff, they're far more likely to stay past the first third of the video. And once people cross that point, retention improves dramatically, which means they're more likely to watch until the end, take action and trust what you're saying. High retention doesn't just improve performance, it also builds credibility and connection with your audience, which is important when you consider the next step. Step 3 is crucial for compounding revenue and views later on. A lot of creators wait until the very end of a video to ask viewers to take action, or they don't ask at all. But by that point, a large percentage of the audience has already left. So instead, ask early, ideally within the first 90 seconds of the video. That simple change alone can drastically increase the number of viewers who join your email list or enter your wider ecosystem, which is useful for later on. For maximum impact, you can reinforce this later on within the video with a reminder, but the key is placing that call to action in multiple locations. That might include a quick verbal mention, a link in the description, a pinned comment, and a reminder near the end of the video. If you're using a lead magnet, make sure it's tightly aligned with the topic of the video and the problem the viewer came to solve. For example, if someone's watching a video about improving their YouTube strategy, offering them a checklist or channel review related to that exact topic will convert far better than something generic. When the value is clearly connected to the content that they just watched, the decision to opt in feels natural, and once the loop picks up speed, leads and revenue compound. If you want to see how this works in practice, there's a link in the description down below where you can get your own channel reviewed by me. Now, step 4 is presenting ideas in a unique and visual way, not just verbally, but through things like stories, metaphors, diagrams, frameworks, or even short interview clips that illustrate the point. And this is because the reality is that the most advice, whatever industry you're in, has already been said somewhere. If viewers feel like they've heard it all before, they'll simply leave. One of the easiest ways around this is to show ideas visually instead of just explaining them. For example, earlier in this video, I showed how YouTube begins recommending videos to the same audience, forming what we call a referral network. That simple visual makes the concept much easier to understand than just describing it verbally. You can do the same thing using analytics screenshots, slideshows, spreadsheets, whiteboards, or other visuals that help people see the idea clearer. This is especially powerful for smaller educational channels because the viewers likely don't know you yet. Relying purely on talking head content can make it harder to hold attention at the start. When people can see the idea unfold visually, the information feels closer, newer, and far more useful. And that keeps viewers watching, which is exactly what fuels the looping strategy. But step 5 is where the compound effect actually gains momentum. Because at this point, you begin linking your videos together so that they work as a network instead of isolated uploads. The simplest way to do this is by directing viewers to another similar video using your end screens, video cards, and occasionally mentioning the next video during the content itself. You can actually see the connections between the videos back in your YouTube studio data. When several videos are connected like this, they start feeding viewers to each other. And once that happens, the system begins to compound because every new viewer entering the network can end up watching multiple videos inside it. In fact, I already did this earlier in this video when I referenced 2 other videos on my channel as examples. Now this is where the real strategy begins because the foundation is now set for part 2, where compound growth becomes deliberate. Part 2 is what I call compound clustering. Instead of thinking about videos individually, you begin planning groups of videos that naturally work together. You can't always control which video will take off, but when one does, the surrounding videos in that cluster often rise with it if they're appropriately connected. But it's important not to confuse clustering with simply making random videos in the same niche. The real strategy is clustering around viewer intent. In other words, you design content around specific problems your viewers are trying to solve, so the videos naturally link together and support those same viewers. As viewers move between those videos, you're not just increasing watch time, you're building an ecosystem that continuously loops viewers through your content and back into your lead capture system. And as that network grows, or when one video suddenly takes off, the loop accelerates with it. If every new video you publish strengthens the cluster, it gives the algorithm more signals about what to recommend them next. And that increases the chance that viewers move deeper into your content. And as your email list grows, you can occasionally accelerate the process further by directing viewers back to the videos where you already know the loop performs best. However, part 3 is what really puts fuel in the tank here. It's important to remember that once someone joins your email list, the strategy doesn't stop there. You must make sure that the conversion is optimal by sending resources, related videos, or offers that match the intent of the originally watched video. So if someone joined your list from a video about YouTube strategy, the follow-up should stay aligned with that topic, a bit like the link for this channel in the review down below. This is because when the message matches the viewer's intent, the value feels directly relevant to what they're already looking for. And naturally, as revenue increases, you can reinvest more back into that earlier part of the system, creating better content, building stronger clusters, and accelerating the loop even faster. The end result is a rapidly increasing flywheel for your business. Now, if that sounds good, you almost certainly want to see this next video here in the end screen. It's a good one. Check it out.